It's been widely reported, but I think fits the narrative that we're trying to explore here at the Nonprofit Newsfeed, and that is how a old donation platform called Flipcause kept basically shadow campaign pages for its clients live inadvertently. And these pages, George, led to the loss of $500,000 in donation revenue. Now, the reason we know about this is a lot of nonprofits complained. The California State AG, George, has issued a formal cease and desist to Flipcause for the complaints, and is suspending those pages. But, George, this really opens up broader questions about what happens when nonprofit donation platforms or other third parties operating in the sector have donor data, or potentially even donor funds on their books and are not dispersing it in an appropriate time frame, George. And it seems here, I can't speak to how malicious it was, but the result was the same, that these pages were still live out of negligence, quite frankly, collecting money, and the money did not make its way to these organizations, despite repeated attempts by nonprofits to get the funds dispersed. So, George, we can talk about potential solutions to this, but the story in and of itself is a pretty good exemplification of the risk that we've been talking about on this podcast when it comes to the dangers of shadow donation pages. Here, it seems old donation pages that introduced the same level of risk to organizations being in a way severed from the very funds that were raised on their behalf.
Yeah, to be clear, this isn't the situation where GoFundMe created 1.4 million donation pages without the permission of the nonprofits. This is a case where we are simply looking at those legacy shadow donation pages, pages that, according to the nonprofit, shouldn't exist because they technically stopped working with, canceled contract with the organization. I know it goes beyond that, frankly, with Flipcause and others having probably far too long before fund distribution times were reached, and that gets us to float. But I'm going to put a pin in that. But these shadow donation pages, what I want you to take away is that when you have a donation page running without the knowledge, consent, or permission of a nonprofit, it is an area, a blind spot where how do they know what they don't know? How do they know a donation came through to track it? And the truth is, you don't find out until it's too late. And it is, in addition, very hard to pull that information with regard to the donor data into your system, which is gets us to this like why we care so much about and continue to talk about why there must be some sort of system out there like the verified giving protocol that we've written about, talked about, and hopefully will see a champion emerge to push forward as a way of adding that donation pathway transparency to make sure donor data and dollars end up where they should be going.